So I did a thing and I got some worms. So I guess now that makes me a worm farmer, because I am finally getting my vermicomposting setup going. I'm so excited. I got the Urbalive, and this thing I think is gorgeous, especially as far as worm farms go. I'm gonna get it all set up and then I'm gonna show you, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Kiri, and I'm just a city girl who wishes she was a country girl who is currently living in the burbs. And on this channel, we talk about all things micro homesteading, from growing indoors hydroponically to growing outdoors in the garden, and other ways to become a little bit more self-sufficient and reduce your reliance on the grocery store. So if that is your thing, or if you'd like that to be your thing, then go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell down below so you will know when I post videos in the future. And today we are here to talk about worms, because I got worms. I'm gonna go into the crappy little kitchen and let's get the Urbalive all set up. I didn't get that color, but that's the general idea of it. Apparently I won some design awards, and oh yeah, there it is, see? Red Dot Design Award 2017. And honestly, this thing's pretty. Like, I'm keeping it inside. I'll get into that more later. But yeah, so let's get into the worm farm. Okay, so let's get this thing unpacked. It's so pretty, guys. Ooh. There we go. It's got a nice wooden handle on it. Air holes all around, so that's the lid. And then what have we got in here? We've got some Diatomaceous Earth. We have, my beneficial nematodes, little wormies. I'll go into more detail on these guys, but I did opt to get, these were an add-on. And as another add-on, I actually got an extra level. It comes with 2 levels, but I wanted to have a 3rd one. So we got that, and then what is this? Oh, this is a multifunctional measuring vessel. This right here is my worms. In case you guys are wondering, I got this Urbalive from wormbox.ca. I actually have a coupon code. I'll put it down here. It gets you 5% off. I like them because they're Canadian, so for me that matters. They're out of Montreal. So I just want to give them a shout out because they were awesome. They answered all my questions. So if you decide to get a worm farm from them, they do sell a whole bunch of them. I think they have 4 different models. Talk to them about how many worms to get, because initially what I was thinking to get was too little. So they're great. If you tell them what you're trying to do, they'll give you a good idea of what's the right amount of worms, because that's what they do. Worms. All right, so here's another one of the levels. Oh, I'll move my nematodes as well. Keep all the little guys together. We have the legs, which are also wood. And it looks like we've got a little shovel and the spout that goes on the bottom. So you can get your worm tea, I guess they call it. Kind of like you can get out of the bokashi composter, you can get a tea, which is good for your plants. All right, another level. And then there is a mesh with some little handles on it, and the bottom of the worm farm, which is where the legs are going to go. Right, so let's open up this bag. I can do this. I'm a strong and independent woman. There we go. Whoop. Lovely green shovel or scooper. My spout. Some lovely wooden legs, and some instructions. Oh, and what's this? Some screws. Power tool time. All right, so those are all screwed in, all 4 of them. Now we need to put in the plastic spout. So just go slow and make sure that you get it in straight. You don't want to cross thread it and then have a big hole at the bottom. So we'll get this in, and then we have this helpful one here on and off. So currently we would be in the on position. So how does this turn? There we go. So we'll turn it into the off so that we don't have anything leaking out onto the floor. So that's on and off. Now we don't see anything. Perfect. That is the beginnings of our worm farm. Next is yield mesh. So this is pretty see-through, so just be careful with it. And then you're just going to want it to rest right on both of those, and just make sure that your little handles are up there. Okay, so that's down on that side and down on that side. Handles are there so we can get it out. Perfect. So next we have our bin. That's the first level. I'm only going to start with the first level, just the one. You don't want to have too many at the beginning. We're going to get the worms established in this bottom level first, and then once we start to fill this up, we will add on the next level, and then the worms will continue to migrate up through the levels, and then all the worm castings will end up in the bottom. But we want to start small and get them all established, let them start breeding, and just start all the goodness. Before I go putting the worms or anything else in here, I need to lay a bedding down. I have a bucket where I keep ripped up basically just egg cartons, which I also use outside in my composter, and we're going to use that in here to be the bedding for the worms. So I'm going to go get some of that and we'll get that in here. Okay, so here is all my ripped up egg cartons. So this is going to go in to here to form a bedding. So as with any composting, you want to make sure that you have a good balance with your browns and greens. And these will be a lovely home for my earthworms. And then as we keep putting layers in, we'll keep adding more of the bedding. We'll get a good layer going in there for them. I want them to be happy. All right, so we'll get it wet. So we'll give that a second to soak in. So now that I've got all the bedding moistened down, I have some chopped food to go in here for them. You don't want to put in too much at the beginning because you need them to kind of get acclimatized. You need them to get used to their new home. And you also need them to start breeding and getting more in here. So we don't want to overwhelm them with food at the beginning. Otherwise, they may not be able to process it all, and then it's going to start rotting, and that's not going to be any good. So we just want to feed them a bit, let them get in here, let them get used to it. So before we get any food in here, we have to get the worms all settled. They're actually packaged with enough food to keep them going for a couple of weeks. I'm just going to let you guys see in here. These are what are called red wigglers. They are not earthworms that you would see in the garden. These will live in the top layer of the soil, whereas the earthworms live lower down. So I'm going to get them and all of this into their new home. So there they all are, kind of in the center. So just spread this all around, and we'll give them a chance to get acclimatized. And now we have to give them something to eat. So it's also important to give them smaller pieces of food, especially when they're getting started. So I've just chopped up some lettuce, and I have some pieces of carrot, and then I chopped up a little bit of banana. So we're going to go and sprinkle that all on top, and then we'll get these guys settled. So we're just going to kind of sprinkle it all around here, get the whole surface covered. And it's really important at the beginning not to overfeed them, because we don't want this to start rotting in here. I'm just going to give another layer of bedding on top, and then we will get them settled in the new location. So that's it, they're settled. So we're gonna leave these guys for a little bit. We're gonna feed them about once or twice a week, just with a handful of food, and just keep a check on the moisture level in here. It is a good idea to kind of get in there with your hand and move things around just to make sure the worms are okay. Keep an eye on them. It also helps to add a little bit of air into the whole mixture, which is also beneficial. Then in about 2 months, I should be able to start getting some tea out of the bottom of the Urbalive. So we will have to be patient and start getting that. I am so excited to have worm casting. They are the best thing for the garden. They are so powerful. I was reading something the other day and it was saying that 1 tablespoon of worm casting feed a plant in a 6-inch pot for 2 months. That's just a tablespoon, guys. So this is powerful stuff, and it's a great way to use up your waste, and especially as a micro homesteader, if you happen to be doing this in an apartment or in a small area, or if you're in a city and you have raccoons and stuff, this thing's pretty. I mean, it's great. It can stay in the house as well, which also is great because then you don't have to worry about the worms getting too cold in the winter, because that's a whole other issue. So that's why I decided to go with this one. So I'm gonna move it over into the corner if I can get past all the seedlings, and then we'll keep an eye on it, and I'll keep updating in my garden tours. Okay, so I was cleaning up and I realized I forgot to mention and use my nematodes. So all we need to do with these is it just says to remove the pouch from the plastic bag and to bury it in the moist bedding of the worm box. So I'm gonna do that now. I also got some Diatomaceous Earth with my worm box, but basically what it does is you can sprinkle it in the worm bin and it will help deal with if you have any mites or anything else that could get in there, any creepy crawlies, because this will basically just kill them. It gets into their exoskeleton, so you just want to go and sprinkle this on top. I'm all good right now, so I'm just going to save this in case I need it later. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up because YouTube loves that and it helps me reach more people. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy the little things and to go out there and make food grow. Bye guys.